Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review and swatches of the new Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. I feel like everyone has been talking about this palette and for good reason. It's gorgeous. I wasn't going to do this video, but I know there's been a lot of mixed reviews, a lot of people comparing it to the 35.0 from Morphe. And I decided I did want to do a video because I disagree with the whole like 35.0 comparison. I don't know, I just wanted to give my thoughts and opinions on it just in case maybe you have my eye shape. I'll talk a little bit about what I'm talking about in the review, but yeah. So basically how I like to do my review and swatches is I will go ahead and swatch the palette for you guys so you can see the colors. Now I just do finger swatches. In my personal opinion, whether I think you do finger swatches or brush swatches, I think that only indicates the actual color of the product, because you're not going to be taking your finger or your brush and swiping it across your crease like that. You're going to be dipping your brush in and then slowly blending up the color. That's my personal opinion on the swatches. If you guys would still like to see brush swatches maybe beside these, I can do that, but I think that in my personal opinion, swatches only represent, I think, the actual color of the eyeshadow palette, because there's a lot of eyeshadows like the Stila eyeshadows that are more of a harder kind of formula and they don't swatch the best, but when you dip your brush in there and blend them up on the eyes, they are so beautiful. They blend really nicely. And so again, that's just my opinion. So yeah, I am going to go ahead and just insert a swatches for you guys, and yeah, then we'll get back to the review. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed those quick little swatches. So now on to the review. I actually purchased this on, I think it was June 12th. They had like an early access on the Urban Decay website. Come packaged really nice, plenty of bubble wraps. That was awesome. It was $54 and it was free shipping, so that is great. This is the packaging. It's plastic, but again, it is so gorgeous. Compared to the old ones, the Naked Smoky is like this plastic packaging, but the Naked 2 and Naked 3 is in this metal packaging, and then the original Naked 1 was in like a magnetic cardboard, like with velvet on it. All I have left is the Naked 2 and Naked 3. The Naked 1 was their first ever high-end eyeshadow palette purchase. My first ever high-end eyeshadow purchase was actually the MAC single eyeshadows. I just feel like that was the thing to have back then, but anyways, I no longer have the Naked 1, but I do, like I said, love that. I just never repurchased it when I got rid of mine because I just feel like, I don't know, there's so many other palettes out there that I do like better. But I do still have Naked 2 and Naked 3, so they kind of do the same layout though, as you guys are going to see here with the Naked Heat palette. You do still get a really nice brush, which I really like. I like saving these brushes for when I travel. Blue-ended brushes, again, just save you so much room. And then the Naked 2 and Naked 3, it did have a really nice brush in them. So here is the Naked 3, just for like a kind of comparison. It's the exact same, they just did like the single rows and the names right underneath them. So again, this is just a little bit of a comparison just to the Naked 3. And then, I don't know if I can hold the Naked 2 one up here, but I will hold this one up here too if I can. Okay, yep. Alright, Naked 1, Naked 2, and Naked 2, Naked 3, and Naked Heat. That's just like a, I hope that you guys can see that, so I'm looking here in the viewfinder, but I really like the Naked palettes. The only thing I didn't like about the Naked 2 and the Naked 3 is that I felt like there wasn't enough matte shades in there. There was more shimmers in there, and I felt like I couldn't really do as many looks. With the Naked Heat, I actually like that they included more matte eyeshadows, like these four here are matte. This first one's got a little bit of shimmer in it, but it looks like I use it to set my primer. And then again, Heat Devil is a matte, and then you do get these three right here, which is a matte as well. Again, really like that they included more mattes. Now, this palette is very, very warm, so if you're someone who doesn't like warm eyeshadows, you're not going to like this palette at all. Now, the matte shades, there is kick up from them, which I don't mind, but I do want to mention that because I know some people don't like that. There is some kick up. They're super creamy, super buttery, and they are super pigmented. I go in and I dip my brush, I tap it off, and I slowly build up the color because it is so incredibly pigmented. Now, I will be honest, I do think the shimmer shades, like this shade right here, Lumbery, could be saying that wrong, I'm sorry. Dirty Talk, Scorched, and Ember, or whatever. I think that these work better applying them with your finger because there is quite a bit of fallout from these shades. If you kind of want to stop that fallout, I like to just spritz my brush with like some kind of setting spray. This is the Smashbox one. Most people use Fix Plus, but I like the Smashbox one way better. I'll just use that to spritz on my brush so I don't have as much fallout on the eyes if I use a brush, but it definitely, in my opinion, works better with your fingers. As far as, like I said, the shimmers being like not pigmented, I think that they don't look as pigmented with a brush when you apply them with a brush, but when you use your finger, I think that they look extremely gorgeous. But yeah, so as far as blendability though of the mattes, they blend so amazing. They're so creamy and just so incredibly pigmented. But I definitely, like I said, would dip in, tap off your excess, and slowly build it up. Now I think that this has great transition shades in here, and then it goes into gray deeper shades. I like the gradient effect of this palette. I do kind of wish that it had like a black shade in here, a matte black, because I feel like all palettes should have a matte black in there. But again, I guess since this is more like a warm tone, like the Heat palette, they maybe felt like it didn't belong in there. So I get that. I get that concept of that. It does have a really nice mirror in here, as well, which I like. So the biggest thing that impresses me with the Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes is the longevity that they last on my eyes. Out of all the eyeshadows that I have ever used, no eyeshadows last on my eyes as long as the Urban Decay ones do. I don't know what it is in their formula, but these just last so incredibly long. Like I can put this makeup on at 7 in the morning, not get home till 9 at night, and yeah, the color might have faded a little bit, but it's not one of those eyeshadows that like starts getting down into the crease of my eye, completely fades away, glitters falling down my face. It's not one of those at all, which I do really appreciate. Now, something that I did notice that was different that I did want to mention is this one is good for 24 months, whereas the old palettes, at least the Naked 3 and the Naked 2, are only good for 12 months. So I'm not exactly sure why that is, if they've changed something in the formula or not. I definitely feel like the formula, there is a little more kick up from this palette than there was from the Naked 1, Naked 2, and Naked 3. So now on to the kind of comparison where everyone's talking about comparing this to the Morphe 35O palettes. Now, I think that the 35O palette from Morphe, if you love warm eyeshadows, you get a ton of, warm eyeshadows, which is great. And you get it for $22, which is a really nice price as well. However, Morphe's shipping is really expensive. Even here in the United States, I know to get it shipped to my house, it was $10 for shipping, which I think is a little bit crazy because every other company I've ever ordered from, shipping's like $5 or something. So I know, especially with the Jaclyn Hill palette, I've seen a lot of people like really upset with how much it costs to get them shipped to their country. I just feel like if other companies can, ship their products for, a less expensive price, then why can't Morphe? That's the only thing that's really bugged me about them. And I'm not a huge fan of their eyeshadows. I mentioned that a lot, but I do think they have okay brushes. I think they have affordable brushes if you're starting out. But yeah, anyways, this is not about the company, but it's about the palette. So I think that, like I said, yeah, the Morphe 35O is half the price of this palette, but they are creamy. I agree. And I think that they are pigmented, but they're almost so creamy that I feel like it's hard to get that gradual like look on your eyes. Like sometimes I feel like the colors can blend into each other and look incredibly muddy. Whereas, with the Naked Heat palette, I don't have that issue. They're still really creamy and they blend so incredibly well. I like some Morphe eyeshadows. Like I like their 12, was it like the Mocha palette or something? Mocha and Spice palette. I like the Mocha one. But there's shimmer shades in there. Again, I do have to really dig my finger in there because I find it hard to apply them with a brush. Anyways, why I like the Naked Heat palette better is because Morphe eyeshadows do not last on my eyes at all. This is my biggest pet peeve with their eyeshadows, is that I can put them on and within 3 to 4 hours, the eyeshadow has gone into the crease of my eye. It's completely faded really quick, and I've got like the shimmer shade that I have on my lid. It has really started to fade. The glitter has come down off my face. So for me, I would much rather pay $54 for less eyeshadows and know that they are actually going to last on my eyes. If you're someone who has hooded downturn eyes like me, it's really hard, I feel like, to find affordable eyeshadows that don't crease in that crease and don't fade so incredibly quickly. These do not do this. They do not fade from my crease whatsoever. And for me, that is totally worth going ahead and splurging and paying the $54 for the Naked Heat palette. But again, if you're someone who maybe doesn't have issues with the Morphe shadows fading, then you might like those better. But for me, that's just always been something that is really important to me when I look for an eyeshadow palette, is the longevity, because with my eye shape, I do have so many issues with other eyeshadow palettes fading on my eyes. So I completely think this is worth it. $54, I know it's expensive, but I think that the quality is completely worth it. And if you're someone who is a fan of the Naked palettes, then I think that, you're definitely going to like this one. again, I think that you can compare colors to the 35O, but I don't think you can compare the quality and how long they last on your eyes. I think that the Urban Decay one just blows Morphe out of the water when it comes to that. I don't like wanna, I'm not like hating on Morphe or anything. I don't know, it's just, like I said, I just wanted to express my opinion about that whole situation. So, I mean, if you like Morphe, like I said, I love their brushes, but I just don't think that the quality really compares to the Urban Decay Naked one, especially, you know, with, like I was talking about, the longevity on the eyes. But yeah, so I'm going to quit yammering on because this video is already super long. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions or about this palette, just let me know. I will, like I said, be including a video of this palette in a full face of first impressions where I'm using other ones. So I will be doing a tutorial and you guys can see how these eyeshadows work. So yeah, if you guys have any other questions or anything, just let me know down below. As always, I just like to encourage everybody to kind of just talk about their experiences down below. Like if you like 35O and you find it doesn't fade, you know, let others know down below, because everyone has different experiences with different products, and this way we can just kind of help each other. So yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.